We're branching into the firearms niche in this episode of CityBilly Adventures. Niche?
Niche?
Nietzsche.
Today I'm going to show you how to functionally camouflage your rifle. I guess we should play a new intro.
Good, not great.
So historically, CityBilly Adventures has been a DIY channel, and don't worry, we still are. One of the many projects we're working on here at the CityBilly Ranch is finishing up this 150-yard shooting range in the backyard. In addition to that, I recently put out a short that showed how to camouflage a rifle. That's DIY. That short got way better metrics than usual, like 10 times better. So between that and this upcoming range build video, I've decided to dip my toe into the overcrowded hot tub that is the YouTube firearms community.
Yippee.
This video is going to expand on the short that I put out and show you in depth how to camouflage a rifle. Now, we've done some pretty complex projects here over the years, but the nice thing about this one is all it takes is the ability to do this. Keep in mind, this is just one way to do it. There's a bunch of other cool ways to paint a rifle and no shortage of videos on how to do it. Now, I mentioned earlier that this is a functional camo, not necessarily a fashion camo. We're making your gun disappear, not making Call of Duty skins. So the gun we're going to paint today is my buddy's new custom-built AR, chambered in 8.6 blackout. We'll get into the weeds on how cool this gun is another time. Today we're focused on painting. I've already made sure the rifle was unloaded, but since we're talking about it, I'll do it again. This gun looks pretty clean already, probably because 8.6 blackout rounds are ridiculously expensive.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
But if you're following along at home, make sure your gun doesn't have any dirt, oil, carbon, dust, whatever. We'll do a final once-over once the gun's strung up. So now we need to cover up any areas that we don't want painted. For this gun, that means the glass on the optics, as well as the markings for the windage and elevation adjustments and the brightness settings. I'm also going to close the dust cover and extend the buttstock all the way out. And that's all I'm worried about for this rifle. Some people like to cover up the charging handle or the trigger. I'm not worried about it. Part of why I call this a functional camo is the paint will wear over time in high-use areas. So as long as you're not caking on the paint, I'm not worried about it gumming up the charging handle. The serial number on the lower is stamped into the metal, so I'm not concerned about that. If for some reason you want to preserve any other serial numbers, like on your optic, make sure to cover it up with tape. Now, I don't want any of the guts painted, but I'll achieve that by just not pointing the spray directly down the barrel or up the magwell. Now it's time to get this rifle in position to be painted. The best way I've found is to hang the gun up with fishing line. If you have a better way, good for you. This is just how I do it. Fishing line is nice because it's so thin. You don't have to worry about going back and spraying the line left behind by paracord or something thicker. The last thing I want is for this gun to fall, so make sure you're using a high test line. This is 40-pound braided line. It's super strong. Our deck has a couple of these hooks in the joists that I think were used to hang potted plants back in the day. They're a perfect spot to hang a rifle. Another good spot would be a tree branch. Use what you've got. I'm feeding the line through the slots in the handguard, and I want it to hang around eye level. From here, I can easily access all sides of the gun. The last step before we start painting is to give the gun one final cleaning. I'm mostly worried about residual oil from the internal components, or sweat from my hands from manipulating the rifle. Anything that will prevent the paint from sticking. I'm using brake cleaner. Sometimes you'll see the cans marked engine cleaner or parts cleaner. It's essentially all the same stuff. It breaks down oils and doesn't leave a residue. The main areas you're likely to find oil are on the upper and lower receivers. And now it's finally time to paint. I'm using Rust-Oleum Camouflage spray paint that I got at the hardware store. Besides the color choices, the thing that puts these products in the camouflage category is they are super flat. You don't want any kind of shiny finish in the paint. Krylon makes similar stuff, and I only went with Rust-Oleum because that's what the store had. If you want to combine the functional aspect of this paint technique with fashionable durability, you could upgrade your paint to something like Duracoat. I've used that for a few rifles in the past, and it's super nice. That being said, these rifles are purely fashion paint jobs. I've got 4 colors here: khaki, flat deep forest green, OD green, and flat earth brown. I'm not using any black because there's very little black in nature.
That's racist.
I'm going to start with the lightest color, which for me is this khaki color, and I'm going to coat the entire rifle. Remember to get the underside of any moving parts, like flip-up sights or this magnifier. And don't forget to paint a magazine too. Remember, if you paint it while it's inserted in the gun, only half the mag will get painted. But it's also the only part you'll see, so it's totally up to you. It's warm and breezy out today, so it doesn't take long for the paint to dry. In the meantime, I'm picking out some vegetation for stencils. Don't waste too much energy on this. Your stencils can be anything that breaks up the symmetry of the colors. That being said, I do really like how these ferns end up looking. If you're dead set on a particular stencil and it doesn't grow in your area, you can always get plastic versions at a craft store. Now I'm taking a darker color and some vegetation and evenly distributing some color around the rifle. I'll keep doing this for every color. Once you've layered all your colors, add a final coat of the lightest color along the entire bottom of the rifle and along the top with the darkest color. This is called counter shading. When the sun shines on an object, it reflects off the top surface and makes the bottom appear darker. Counter shading helps the object blend in with its environment, and it's found all over the animal kingdom. Big difference, huh? It'd be totally fine to stop here, but I'm going to lock in that camouflage flavor with a coat of matte finish clear coat. It's not necessary, but it adds an extra layer of protection against wear in the paint. If you like that battle-worn look, then skip this step. Pretty easy, right? We've got more firearms content coming soon, starting with this range build. But we are still a DIY channel, so go check out all the other projects we've been working on. Thanks for watching.